Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 5 of the Cars and Coffee St. Louis podcast. This is the first time we've ever been virtual. This is the first time we've ever done video. So, stick with us here as we work through any technical difficulties. But Craig and I have been talking.
Like Hollywood's.
And now we have Randi Foraker. Right, and she is one of our moderators on the Cars and Coffee St. Louis group, and then we also have Nick Book, who's also a moderator, and they're both huge in our local car culture. So Nick works for A&G Auto Spa, which is a local detail shop, and they do fantastic work. And then Randi, tell us what you do.
Yeah, so I'm faculty at Washington University in St. Louis in the School of Medicine, and I'm maybe up to here with COVID data analytics right now, maybe creeping up to here, but so glad to be with you and talking about something other than the pandemic. And I'm also open to talking about the pandemic.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk a little bit about it because I know everyone's kind of interested, but then we'll kind of transition away and try to get people's mind off of it because, I feel like it's just jammed down everybody's throats all day, every day with the media and just everything. And then obviously we have Craig Whitehead, the one and the only.
We're in San Francisco, everybody, out here by the bay, enjoying a cool breeze. It's just a lovely night. Wish you guys could all be here with me.
He had a beautiful picture of his car behind him, and now he's by the Golden Gate Bridge. So, if you guys aren't listening to the video version of the podcast, you're missing a great sight there. But we really want to. We just sent out the newsletter. So we used to do the weekly warm up, which was a weekly newsletter that went out on like a Wednesday. Kind of told people what was going on that weekend for car shows. That was something that was really difficult for me to get out and do. So I'm going to try to do a monthly newsletter now that goes out like on time, and then we can sprinkle in some weekly announcements here and there. But I'm not sure if that weekly newsletter is needed. So anyway, I just put together the first one. And it just went out about 10 minutes ago. So you can check our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, anything, and get in your email, obviously, to get the link to that. So check it out. We give a little bit of an update. Craig and I did a short 15-minute video where we just talked about how it's affecting us. And the gist of that, if you didn't see the video, is that we don't really know when this is going to end. And we're not going to sit here and act like we do. And even people who are more in the industry, more in the whole industry, like Randi, for example, she even said like, hey, I'm not scared to sit here and tell you when I've reached my limit and don't know, right? Because no one wants to sit there and talk about it and speculate and say things that they're not 100%, they don't know if it's 100% true or not. So it's a really weird topic. For me, and I know it seems to be a weird topic for everyone. We're just at a loss for words almost. We don't know what to do. But I guess the gist of our video was that the season's been postponed. The CDC has put a ban on mass gatherings. And what does Cars and Coffee St. Louis do? We do mass gatherings of car enthusiasts, right? So we are, exactly who the CDC is talking to when they say not to hold not to hold mass gatherings. They're talking to us. So we're going to listen, and we're not going to put anybody at jeopardy, and we're not going to condone other people putting on events or anything like that. So it has nothing to do with us. It's not personal, right? We understand that maybe some of you aren't going to take it as seriously, and I have friends that aren't taking it very seriously, and there's nothing you can do about that besides try to educate them. I wasn't very educated. When I got back from Florida, this all hit me in the face like a ton of bricks, and Randi and Greg gave me a call and brought me up to speed on what was going on, and I felt pretty stupid. And now but I was thankful for him. I thanked him for it, and now I have a better understanding of what's going on. It's allowing me to make better decisions as the founder of an organization that puts on mass gatherings. So what'd you say, Craig?
You need to quit rubbing your eyes too. One thing,
I know.
folks, keep your
I've
hands off your face. There's
been
nothing on there
washing my
that's that
hands so
important.
much they're about to fall off. There's not a germ left on them, but
So, Randy, I was going to ask you a couple questions. Since you guys are doing data, I've seen that we've moved up to now the 24-hour testing period, which is making it a little bit easier for people to either get help or rest assured, or get a little rest after knowing they're not actually infected with the virus. Still really hard to get the test, though. I mean, people don't understand. A lot of people, when I posted, somebody in my family got it. I got a lot of, well, you must be privileged and stuff like that. Let's talk about, there's a right way and a wrong way to try to get tested for this.
Right. So from the testing frame, of course, not everyone is getting tested, and it's not even possible to test everyone with symptoms at this point because we don't have enough testing infrastructure in order to do that. So the people who are getting tested are presenting to, for example, the emergency departments with severe symptoms, and they're getting tested to determine what's wrong with them and to be able to allocate them into being under observation or definite COVID positive in order to continue to monitor them. And so that's the framework, right? And we know that there's a spectrum of symptoms that can occur with COVID. Some people can have a very mild onset of things like fever and cough, but others are more affected by these symptoms. And so it's really the individuals that are more affected that are getting the tests. And that's just pragmatic who we can allocate these tests to at this time.
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
One thing I can't say for, go ahead, Ben.
Sorry, I was just saying, I know there's like limited testing kits, right? Like we can't test everyone. Imagine trying to test the, tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people in any given city. It's
We can actually
nightmare, right?
Yeah, I think my wife was saying something. My wife works in pharmaceuticals, was saying something that we could actually use leftover, I think it's SARS kits, and added one more PCR or something to it. It actually would be able to use. Wow, Ben, you guys all shifted around on me. It's kind of like when you're a kid, one of those puzzles that you switch everybody keeps dancing around on me. But said that they could do something like that. But here's the point I was getting to with the way to find out about how to get checked. A secret I did find out: if you are feeling bad, you can call your PCP, and they will give you a number of a hotline that you can. PCP, your primary care physician. You can you can go through them and get a special number. It's a hotline that will give you a question. You will talk live with the nurse that will give you a questionnaire and help you to get a test. You cannot drive up to any of these testing facilities and just show up. Kind of like with food and everything else right now, it's more of a waiting game to do anything, but they are freeing up the test a lot more than we've seen in the past several weeks. So you guys are going through just tons and tons of material right now, I'm sure, Randy.
That's right. And you bring up a really good point about testing and the limited availability of it. We're seeing that historically, year after year, flu should be disappearing around this time. And so people with flu-like symptoms right now likely have COVID, but we're not able to test everybody. And so the more severe folks are getting admitted to the hospital. Some are being tested and released to home, and others aren't even getting tested. And so if you have flu-like symptoms, the best advice is to remove yourself and shelter in place and quarantine and reduce your exposure with other people.
Yes, try if you are feeling these symptoms, please reach out to your primary care physician. They can set you up, like I said, with this call, where you can leave immediately from your house if you meet the criteria, drive in your vehicle, to the testing facility. It is not being done through your nose. It is not a brain biopsy. It's nothing like that. I took my wife to have hers done, and they swab right behind your tonsils. I know it's a little gaggy. Just imagine that you're drunk and you accidentally brush your teeth too hard. But I mean, it's if you're scared of this, please don't be scared. And to understand why we are staying home is they're trying to work on a vaccine and stuff. We understand you got to get out. You're going to get out. You have to get out. It's understandable, but try to limit it. Try to limit it as much as you really can.
Right. Yeah. That's been hard for me. Right. I mean, I'm not going to, no one can sit here and say that they're perfect at it, and everyone's trying to figure this out. No, most people, especially the younger people, have never experienced anything like this before.
Yeah, I know. I definitely haven't.
Right.
Never.
This is crazy to me. It's unbelievable.
This is the last time something has been seen like this. Is I shared the article of the Spanish flu, which actually, here's a great thing. If you guys are interested in history, a comedian named Dan Cummings does a podcast called The Time Suck, and he just did a podcast on the Spanish flu and the coronavirus. Funny thing about the Spanish flu is it actually started in a little fort outside of Kansas, and the army men didn't know they had it till they got over to where they were fighting. And of course, America being the great country we are, can't admit to anything, so there it became the Spanish flu.
Cummins,
but
Dan Cummins, is that what you said?
Dan Cummings, and it's the Time Suck podcast. Very good comedian. He has all the information. It's a great way to learn about it and laugh a little bit, especially in a time like this. So it's Dan Cummings, the Time Suck podcast.
Yeah, I just had it on the screen here for the people watching on video. You can see.
Yep.
There it is.
You can see it. Yeah, here it is. So if you guys are interested in hearing what Craig's talking about, and here's a cool thing with the video podcast is we can show you what's on our screen. So pretty nifty. Well, cool, Craig.
Yeah, I listen to this gentleman all the time. Well, I mean, being an older gentleman, you guys, I mean, I'm the oldest guy in the virtual room. I come from a time when my grandparents and my parents were talking about the Great Depression, and us older people like that are the ones that were stocking up on stuff because we were had that beat into our heads by our grandparents.
Right. Yeah. So here's an article that says Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is suggesting keeping the mass gatherings banned until the vaccine is available. So, Randy, do you have any idea of where they're at on a vaccine?
That's a great question. So the antibody testing for people who had COVID is probably closer. So hopefully we can start doing that so we can determine who can safely return to work.
Gotcha.
The vaccine is still a little bit out, probably next spring, if I were to hazard a guess.
Wow.
So what I anticipate is a series of shelter in places like this, just not as long as this. So the first shelter in place is likely going to be the longest to try and flatten the curve almost to zero. We can then expand our social networks a bit until we have to clamp down again, and so on and so forth until a vaccine is available.
Wow.
So
Yeah, we can all.
that's the best path forward.
We can always hope that it mutates in a good way, and like some flus slowly burn themselves out. But that's one thing. Another thing that I've read about this virus too, and I don't know if Randi can verify or nullify this for me.
So impressive. She knows the answer to these questions. This is good.
Right. But here's one for you. They're saying, okay, people who have got it may not be, immune to it coming back around a second time.
Yeah, we don't know much about this virus, to be quite honest. So we know that with typical influenza or other viruses, you do have a period of immunity. We just don't know how long that is with COVID-19. So
and you can spread this.
We think that it will be safe to return people to work, at least in the short term, but then we don't know how long those antibodies will last.
It makes sense.
Oh,
yeah.
Everybody stock up on frozen pizza. You're not going to get TP. So here's my advice to you. Buy a bidet. The French have been doing it for a long time. It's cool. It's refreshing. You wouldn't poop on your arm and just wipe it off with a piece of toilet paper and just go about your day. You're going to take some water and soap and put on that. Get a bidet, squirt, and we could put them out of business. Down with the toilet paper company because they're hoarding that stuff at their factories. Now I sound like one of those weird, oh my God, it's hardball and I'm freaking out and the government's but really get a bidet. Bring in a garden hose, just squirt it off. You're right there by the
Actually, I saw that they were like sold out everywhere too. That was the problem. Is the toilet paper crisis happened and then the bidets all disappeared too.
Go get you one of those kitchen sprayers.
Exactly, the handmade one.
Yeah, right.
Using our power washers or our hoses to wash our cars because they're already nice and shiny, ready for car season, so they can be repurposed as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Think about how much gas money we've all saved. Has anybody? How's your gas mileage been this month lately, guys?
It's been great.
Actually, worse.
I know. The Hellcat is actually
drive up freaking.
I drive like a maniac. Exactly.
The Hellcat's out there, got a 1/4 inch of dust on it. It's clean. I mean, there's no like mud or anything on it, but it is dusty as heck. My wife's car hasn't been out in 2 months. I just started the other day just to make sure.
That's good. Yeah.
And we miss you guys. It's so nice to see all your beautiful faces.
Craig. So I think, maybe some cool tips for people would, if you're not able to get out there and drive your car, cars don't like to sit, especially performance cars. So like from a mechanical standpoint, get out there and start your car, let it run for a little bit, keep your seals, lubricated and, and keep your engine healthy, because what happens if this lasts a really long time? Everybody starts their cars and they all fall apart. They could, especially something Italian.
Stable.
So,
yes,
but
Italians are always good for stale things. I mean, what?
Yeah, maybe Nick could give us some updates on, or just some advice on what to do to keep your cars. How do they keep their paint nice? I guess if it's covered in dust,
tires.
You couldn't go take a microfiber and just rub
definitely
it.
Not. If you're gonna clean it, just wash it like normal. That's always the best method. Even if you're not driving it, just wait, and then when it's time to take it out and go have fun and take it to a show, which might be the end of the year, early next year, but eventually just clean it like normal.
Right, and that'll give you an excuse to get out of the house and be outside and clean your car. So, yeah, so that'd be awesome. And I was just reading about the Daytona International Speedway has turned the entire racetrack into a drive-through coronavirus testing site, which is one of the most bizarre things. But I've heard that a lot of these organizations are, big facilities and manufacturing plants like Ford, and they're all being shifted to produce and assist with this epidemic. So like Ford is producing, I think, and you guys might know, are producing masks. Is that right?
Yes. I heard Ford and GM both.
Crazy. Right.
Tesla's doing ventilators.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Look that article up right there. I think he's given 1,000 to California so far.
Wow.
Yeah, my friend Kevin's building ventilators at Wash U, I guess, in the machine shop, and they're on a final design.
So what should I say?
What we talked about.
Tesla and ventilators. He just like had 1,000 ventilators built and gave them to some place in California, I think. I was reading it. I don't remember all of it.
Oh yeah.
I try to stay up on it, but I'm old and
the Model
the days
X
are passing.
has the, what is that system called, Nick?
The biohazard defense system or whatever.
Yes.
For the air conditioning.
So cool. Basically,
hey,
you could drive through some sort of radioactive wasteland and you'd be okay because it has some insane filtration system. But
so you could drive through coronavirus in that car is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I'm not sure if we're allowed to play YouTube videos here. Maybe if I turn the audio off. But there's something going on here.
So, Miss Randy, while he's doing that, I see is the vet covered up in a cover up there, or is it black?
So the vet is under a cover and on a trickle charger. And then below it is the demon that we need to cover because he's nice and clean and we don't want to get him too dusty.
Right.
That's Toby, right?
Should also be undercover, but they're all on trickle chargers. But to Ben's point, we have to start them up and get them running every now and then to make sure that they stay healthy during this pandemic.
Yeah, every 5 to 7 days, I start all my cars and let them run for about 5-10 minutes, and even start my generators. I have a 8,500 watt generator and a 3,300 watt generator. Well, I want to run my whole house, you know.
Yeah.
So, but I just plug it. Here's a secret for you guys: if you have a generator and it has a 220 plug on it, find you an old dryer, 220 dryer plug, hook the plug onto the other end, and you can actually back power your house through your dryer plug if you turn off your breakers if your power goes out, because you just don't want it to like both powers run into each other if the power would come back on. But yeah, that's a great thing for you to know, especially in times like this, that if the power would go out for you, that you can always power your whole house with the generator. So
wow,
useless tip from Craig. So
that's not useless.
Craig is way more prepared for this than I am.
Well, I'm an old man. I've been through this stuff a lot. Well, not this stuff, but I mean, hey, you guys, I don't know how old any of you guys were, but I sat for hours in the 1970s gas thing just to watch my parents get $4.58, which would have been about 6 gallons of gas after sitting for 3 hours in a waiting line. So I've been through all this. Everybody thinks the world's going to end. It ain't going to end. It's not going to end. This is just another thing. We're humans. We will adapt. We have adapted for thousands and thousands of years. We will adapt.
We're an impressive species, aren't we, Craig?
Yes, we are. We are. I mean, we can kill things. We can ruin things and then make man-made things to fix the natural things that we ruined, which really sucks and we shouldn't do. But it's, humans like to play God. So look at we ruined the whole ice cap, but guess what? We made one out of styrofoam. All the polar bears are fine.
So and eventually, we should probably transition away from bad news, but there is one thing that we haven't addressed yet, which is Fuel Fest is canceled, which is such a shame. I had a call with one of the main guys, and he's wanted to assure me that it wasn't going to get canceled. It was only going to be postponed, and they had all these dates, and I just get this random email, no call, that is canceled. So I think he was a little bummed out himself. He said it came from higher up, and he couldn't believe it. He was in absolute shock. So that is something that's, we're trying to get on board for next year, get them to come down here, because that was going to be such a great thing for the Midwest culture. It was going to be awesome. I know Nick's company was involved. They were our first sponsor, and we had to refund their money, and we're gonna try to bring them on board next year. And it was going to be such a great thing. So it's such a shame.
I said about the Hot Wheels show. We were going to do the Hot Wheels show again, and this time you were going to be the main guy, and I was just going to follow you around.
You did a great job.
So we'll have to hopefully do that next year. Well, last year I got to do it, so I made a deal with Hot Wheels that this year Ben would get to do it, and then I could be his co-host. So because he's so cute, we all want to see Ben on there. So I don't need all the attention.
That's right.
This is great. I love seeing you guys. This is fun, man. I'm so glad to see you all smiling and stuff. I got to see Nick from 6 feet away, and we weren't social distancing. I was actually there too. That was actually one of the last jobs I did before my wife actually admitted to me that she had been taking chemo, and I had to stop working. So that was Nick. That was the last job I actually did.
It's not good.
Yep.
Well, you guys killed it. So everything turned out amazing with the deck.
Well, I'm hoping Joe does good. We're still friends, but I've decided to sell my part of the company back, and I'm just going to go on to other things because you know.
That's just business, right? It's not personal.
Yeah, it's just business. It's nothing personal. You know, I could care less. I don't really like working all that much anyway. I'd rather stay home and
You
follow my
don't
wife
say.
around the house all day.
You
I'd rather
have
follow
to
my
know,
wife around
Craig.
the house
You're
all
the
day.
kind of guy that has to get out there, and
He has to
you
be
know,
doing
like to do-
something. He can't
You
not
do.
Yes.
move.
like he was so bummed earlier today, and as soon as we hopped on this call, he just lit up like a Christmas tree. He was so excited.
That
You can't-
sucks.
you're
That's
gone.
a really cool comic book cover, and you guys can't see
literally
it.
just went full cloak, buddy. You went full cloak there. No idea what you're doing. I can't see it. You got to turn off your background thing.
Oh wait, there it is. Hold it down. Hold it down.
Yeah.
There it is, right there.
So
New
I
Avengers.
think once,
I like comic books.
I think once this whole thing blows over, which it will, that the floodgates are really going to open, and we're going to see like this outpour of support, and we're going to have some really big events. So we're preparing for that. We are working on our new website, which is going to be really awesome. It's gonna have all the information that everyone needs, and the guy that's donating it to us has been working hard on it. So another shout out to Greg.
Greg.
Dennis. He's unbelievable offer that he came to us with to build this site for free, and we're gonna pay him back in other ways, but we're also working on merchandise. I have to figure out maybe if we can do a virtual meeting or something, because I'm not gonna go up there and see him. I'm gonna stop going out and seeing people. So we got to get that going, but
Necessities only.
We're gonna produce some like really high quality shirts. Like we want, and I always tell people like my favorite shirt to wear in my closet is this like random sauce on the side restaurant shirt, and I don't even really eat there that often because it is so soft. I wear it, right? So they're getting all this free advertising from me, and I'm not even like a huge fan of the restaurant. I used to eat
It's
there a
good,
lot,
though.
but anyway, the point
good.
is that we're going to produce really high quality shirts, really high quality prints, and we're going to try to get them at a low price. And the idea here is not to make money off the merchandise, but just to give you guys a really great shirt to wear, right? And we're going to do hoodies and hats and all that stuff. So you'll be able to buy them online. And we'll also buy up our own inventory, and I think we're going to put some in the Fast Lane gift shop, which would be great. So Fast Lane Classic Cars, shout out to them. They've been really supportive throughout the entire time we've been working with them, and we have some really cool stuff that we're working on. We're also doing virtual cars and coffee meets in Forza Horizon, which is really, really cool. And I want to show people kind of how great this is. So how many people do we have, Craig? Like 20 people or so in this lobby, maybe
Yes.
more?
Yes, and I started a Twitch account, so now you can go to Twitch and actually watch and follow along with us and comment stuff too through my Twitch account. It's called Twitch. It's a gaming account. It's pretty neat, but we can use it for other things too. But I figured for the guys that actually can't get it, or the people that enjoy to be around but can't actually have the game. Like I have a lot of friends in PS4 that are like, man, I wish I could at least be there and talk with you guys. This with the Twitch account, you have a chance of being able to do stuff like that.
Yeah. So, we do some pretty cool, cruises and stuff. And just like we're talking right now, the best part is just being able to connect with people, right? So we're playing a game, but we're talking to the enthusiasts and catching up on how they're doing. And it's just really great. I don't know if you guys can see some of these pictures, but we were doing some races, which is really cool. It's just really fun. So NASCAR and IMSA are doing their races virtually. And did you guys see that? Yeah,
that's super cool.
It is so cool. So you have all these professional race car drivers and real simulators out there ripping it up on the track, and it's cool to see. Like, so IMSA did theirs in iRacing, and it's impressive that all of these drivers are able to get in there and just race like a normal car. 'Cause that shows you how similar the physics are to real life to in game, right? Because like even Forza, I can get on there and set some crazy laps, but then I get on headquarters virtual racing simulator I helped to put together, and I can't do 2 laps without crashing. So it's really, really cool, and I can appreciate their skills.
heck.
That was
iRacing's nice though. I've seen some of the setups for iRacing. That ain't no Forza setup. You can buy set up and race Forza for $79. You ain't doing that with iRacing.
No, absolutely
So
not.
Horizon 4 at Target online right now is $30, and they email you a code. That's the full game.
Really?
Tell you what, if you have Xbox, you can actually get like gold for, I think right now it's 14 for the whole year for this year, and you get just the main pack, but no extra cars, none of that stuff. Like, or what is that, Fortune Island? You don't get any of that. That's extra money. They make you pay full price for that. Also, another thing, if you don't have TV right now, go to twitch.com. Or not twitch.com, but what's it called? Sling TV. Sling TV is giving you TV for free for the next 3 months. Check it out. I don't know why I did that, but I just always wanted to.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but they are doing it.
So can I drag race on these games, or is it just road courses?
Oh, it's everything.
Okay.
So Forza Horizon 4 is like, it's a free roam based game. So you basically have this full open world to drive around, and you can do street racing, road course racing. You can do drag racing, anything you want.
Off-road.
Or you can just cruise around with your friends and do highway pulls or whatever you want to do. A lot of the guys like to do the drifting, so it's really fun. And then you have Forza Motorsport, which is different from Horizon because it's strictly racetracks. And it's much more like a simulator, right? So that's
my game of choice for racing.
Really fun.
Yeah, I have that too. I actually have my Hellcat striped and everything in 7, but for some reason I can't move it over to the 4. I do enjoy 7 a lot. That is a great game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we had the let's see, we should probably do some sort of live stream or something with motorsport too. But I know that a lot of people use their racing wheels and stuff when they play motorsport because of how realistic it is. But I think it's really cool how these, I don't know, there's just something about these big professional racing organizations going to something like a video game and doing these races. Because normally people see video games as, you don't take video games very seriously. I guess it's become more of a serious thing with esports and stuff like that. But they weren't afraid of what that might do to their image or what have you. I don't know. I just thought it was the coolest thing. But I'm a huge IMSA fan, and I'm gonna share my screen and show you guys some of these pictures because it's really, really cool. You can see how many race cars they had out on the track at the same time. So I'm sure they had some.
Wow, that's cool.
And it looks so real,
and they don't have to worry about wrecking a $500, $800 million car.
No, that's right. Yeah, it's crazy. So, here's just looks so real.
Yeah, I've been enjoying Project Cars too. That's actually a pretty good game.
Oh yeah, that was free.
Yeah. I actually just picked that up. That's actually a really good game.
Got a drag race right here down the front straight.
I can't tell what's real and what's not. That's definitely a real race. But another thing that has been going on is Cletus McFarland. I don't know if you guys have heard of his YouTube channel, but
Freedom 500.
That's amazing. He went and bought a racetrack.
Man. It was DeSoto Speedway in Bradenton, Florida, and he buys this racetrack and he gets these sponsors together, and they've been redoing it. So they repaved the infield figure 8. They built a burnout pad in the middle. They did the resod. So they have grass again and all this stuff. Well, Cletus goes out to the Florida State auction and buys 25 decommissioned police cars, detective cars. They're all Crown Vics, and he puts a roll cage in all the cars and puts nitrous bottles in all the cars. So then he goes out and gets I think they had 19 because some people had backed out because of the virus, but they're supposed to have 21, I think. But they are all huge YouTubers and influencers and people in the automotive industry. Brings them out to Florida and puts them in these Crown Vics and just lets them loose, man. Just like old NASCAR, you know, back when it was just a bunch of guys and girls rubbing and racing. And, you know, I just thought that was the coolest thing. So he did a pay-per-view that I paid for is $10. And you get to, you know, you got an hour and a half of just watching people race. It was the coolest thing ever. And I thought, like, imagine, so this guy's got, what, 2.2 million subscribers or something like that. Imagine if he just gets like 5% of his subscribers to buy a $10 pay-per-view, he's going to make like $1 million. So, I mean, as a business model,
that dude's been getting money off subscribing for a long time.
Yeah.
Cletus McFarland's been around for a while.
Yeah. But pay-per-view is just the idea of creating content that people, you know, because all of his stuff's free, right? All the videos you put out for people to watch, it's free. So
all the YouTube stuff was.
It's an interesting move for him to go out and ask people to pay for content. The way that I look at it is this man's been giving me free content for years. And of course, like if I have $10 to spare to watch something, that's not too much to ask. I have another friend who says that's way too much money to ask, but you know, it's just an interesting concept as someone who's in the media industry and the tech industry and all this stuff. You know, maybe we could do something like that, which would be really cool. So I don't know what I want to start doing these free live streams of the games that we're playing. So if we do a Forza game tonight, you know, maybe live stream that.
Yeah, you can stream it on Facebook if you've got a page.
Oh, really?
Who does that? I'll send you a message with a guy that I know that does it.
Randy, do you have an Xbox or a PlayStation?
In the basement somewhere, but I could dig it out. And as a side note, I rented a Crown Vic once as a rental car, and it was the most annoying car to drive because everyone slowed down in front of me. They thought I was a cop, and it was so irritating. I will never do that again. Unless I have like a ram bar on the front and I can just push people out.
And you could, yeah. Well, you might as well just go all out at that point, right? Get like yourself a bike rack on the top so people think it's a, you know, some lights. That's funny. Yeah, I could definitely see that. But like as a car to, you know, what's a really cheap car with a V8 rear wheel drive that you can take out there? I mean, it's like the perfect car for that, especially seeing how they've been around forever and the cheaper ones with all the miles or the older ones with all the miles are real cheap. I think he said he was getting some of them for like $500, which is crazy. And I think the most he paid was $2,000. So, but evidently people were not happy that this guy came in and bought all of the Crown Vics. I'm sure it was several auctions where he just literally bought every car that they had. So it was really, really cool. But yeah, I know that. So I had a meeting with Brian Lucky of Dalo Motoring. I see the shirt. We love Brian. Brian's freaking great. He is someone who has been around car shows and car events around the nation his entire life. This guy knows, you know, he was telling me about pre-social media days and just when the world was just a different place, car shows like Good Guys and stuff like that. I mean, they'll have like 10,000 cars or something, like an astronomical number of cars that makes even the largest Cars and Coffee in the world look small. And, you know, this guy just has extensive knowledge. So we talked about some ideas he had, and we're thinking about putting together, and I don't know how much I can say. We're going to put together a show, something completely different, nothing like you've ever seen here in the area. And I'm not sure if anyone in the United States is even doing it. And we're gonna do something that it won't be free. It's not gonna be a Cars and Coffee. It's gonna be its own thing. But whatever it ends up costing, it's gonna be so worth it. It's just, we have some really good ideas, but it's gonna be one of those situations where it's big investment and, you know, big risk and all this stuff to get it rolling. But he's so well connected and he just knows. Have you noticed that he just knows everyone, like in the car industry? So.
And I'm totally in. So whatever you
are you?
together, And if Shake and Bake, which is the nickname for the 250 Tremor, if Shake and Bake is ready with his new wheels, he'll show up too.
Tell us all about this. You went and bought a brand new Ford Tremor, which I saw at the St. Louis Auto Show for the first time and fell in love with it. How is it different from like the normal F-250?
Well, so I can tell you how it's different from my normal daily driver, which was a 135i BMW.
Yeah.
And it is approximately 5 or 6 times the size of that. And his name is Shake and Bake.
Nice.
Yeah.
Check that out.
And
for those of you not on the video, Randy's showing us her brand new F-250 Tremor. It's in black.
There you go. And
you have really good taste.
Did the tint. So I have 40% on the windshield.
Jesus.
And 20% everywhere else.
That is
and
a beautiful
this will
truck.
pull the trailer and the Demon to the racetrack. And we also put a 2-inch leveling kit on him, which is hard to tell right here, but he looks nice and level now.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. What kind of suspension you got on there?
That's right. And he'll get some red wheels here shortly, and so he'll be very flashy. We're so excited.
Red wheels.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of wheels are you getting? That's the real question.
Fuel wheels.
Solid.
That's what Brian uses on all of his trucks. Dawn's truck is massive. Brian's wife drives an F-350 lifted with huge wheels and not huge wheels, huge tires and nice fuel wheels. And that truck is freaking massive. I can't believe it. She's an awesome chick too. You and Dawn really remind me of each other. You girls are.
And anybody that knows Randi is even though she's very tall in stature and her mental giantness, she is actually very petite in frame. So as you can see next to her truck, this is a very powerful woman because that little, I mean, look at her head next to the truck, but she's going to go out and drive that thing like a monster. And you know it because she drives those cars on the other side too. So you guys that don't know Randi very well, this woman is a very fast woman.
This is going to be my daily driver, so I've already negotiated with Wash U to get out of the parking garage and onto a surface lot because this is maybe 7 foot 1 inch now, and my parking garage was 7 foot 3 inch clearance.
Oh,
so I don't really want to mess around with that when I get on the wheels and tires. So I've already negotiated for a surface lot spot.
That wouldn't be a good sound hearing that. You'll have a convertible truck there shortly.
Hey Nick, can you buff this out for us, sir?
No, we had a G-Wagon that had that all on the roof. So they just ran it. Yeah, they ran. I don't know if it was like one of the bars or something, but there was paint missing all the way down the entire roof on all the raised areas. And I'm like, come on.
That's
and the
terrible.
person bought it and they didn't even know that it was up there.
My gosh. So so as Craig's saying, if you guys don't know Randi, she drives you have a 2016 Hellcat?
Yep, that's
Tell us about your cars behind you.
2016 Hellcat, 2018 Demon. I'm testing out my meteorological skills right now. And a 2009 Corvette ZR1.
Yeah. So Randi's run 9s in her Demon. Then you went to, can you tell us a little bit about the Demon meetup that you guys went to?
Sure. So it seems like a decade ago, but it was last year and it was in Houston, and about 50 Demons attended the event. And we just really wanted to break the record. And the record is 965 for the Demon. And at that event, the fastest I believe was 971. I went 979 at 141 miles an hour. And it was a super event. Like I just went there not wanting to be last and hoping to make some runs. And it turned out that I made it into the top, I think, 7 at that event. So
She was teaching the men how to go 9s. They couldn't do it. So, I mean, Randi she is awesome. I love that story. And the event was not broadcasted. No one said anything. This is like a top secret thing, right? Because the NHRA. So, how did that work?
Yeah, so the NHRA bans cars that go faster than 10 seconds that don't have roll cages, and as you go faster, there's more and more restrictions. And so they can't sanction any events that have automobiles that break those rules. And so we didn't want to let them know that we were doing what we were doing. It was a private track event. And it was just really a lot of fun to all band together and try to get each other to go as fast as we could go. I think the thing that I'm most proud of is a friend of mine that I made there who lives in Alabama. He had a fully stock Demon, so all of the seats in it, plus a sunroof. And he said, I can't get this to go faster than 10 seconds. Can you help me? And I said, well, I'll do what I can. And I think my fastest pass was 9.95. And so and the way that he was cheering was as if he had done it himself. And it just was so,
That's awesome.
to help him do that.
That's fantastic. Yeah, what a cool event. I mean, it's such an interesting car. I know that when you put it in drag mode, and so this is one of the only road cars that I know of that has a trans brake, probably the only OEM trans brake out there. And when you're in there and you're staging and the light goes green and you let go of the paddles and it releases the trans brake, at the same time it's diverting the air conditioning into the air intake, which is cooling the engine so you can just run consistent passes. And like right when you let go of the trans brake, doesn't it have shocks that jerk the front of the car up, shifts all the weight to the rear tires and lets you grip and hook up? Because I think that's how it works, right?
It does. And I haven't mastered the trans brake for race day. I've practiced it a lot and it's only effective for me about 50% of the time. It's tricky. It takes a lot of coordination. So I launch control typically, and I just set the RPM and mash the gas, and with a good reaction time can usually make it happen.
That's awesome. Yeah, and people think, because it's an automatic, it's very easy to drive, but I've heard it is the exact opposite. And it is extremely difficult to master the trans brake, which makes it fun, right? Like it gives you a challenge, and you always feel like there's something else you can do the next time you go out in the car, and you can always make it a little bit faster. So that 9 that you ran, that wasn't with the trans brake, or it was?
It was not. It was just control.
Holy crap.
She's just that good. She's the magic one behind the wheel.
That's crazy. I did
Women
not
seem
know
to have
that.
a faster reflex time, because my wife can get off the line. Either way, if we switch cars, she gets off the line faster than I do.
Well, I'm a pretty good shot too. So in terms of like being precise with firearms and fast with reaction time in cars, I think that I'm biased, but I feel like women have the edge.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I'm with you. My wife actually has her NHRA pass. Funny thing is when we bought our Hellcat, you get that free ticket to Bondurant. Yeah, and I didn't get to because at the time I couldn't find my license, so I got to miss out on the fun of that. But I hear that's a really good time. Did you guys enjoy when you went?
Yeah, so we've been to Bondurant in Arizona a couple of times. We went with the Hellcat pass that we got when we bought the Hellcat, and then we just bought another pass so that we could both go for a 2-day Hellcat experience. And that was really awesome. I didn't expect to learn so much about driving just in general, in terms of how to handle the ABS, in the rain, skid pad, all of that. And then we also went with the Demon, we went for a 1-day drag race experience because they also have a drag strip at Bondurant. And that was really a lot of fun. We were their first class, and so the whole Bondurant family was there, and
Oh,
we got
nice.
to get to know them, and they were so excited to host this first class of the drag strip.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of jealous. I did a couple of events
Yeah, I
locally
really
with
wanted
the
to
Porsche Club, and it was great.
I remember one of those. You were tearing some Porsches up with that little turbo Mini of yours.
Yeah, now it's broken, low compression on cylinder 3 and 4, and I need to change the motor. But it's just sitting. It's
still have your
own
Mini,
it, though.
Nick?
You can always fix it.
Yeah, but it's broken.
Because you just got a new Miata, right?
Yeah, back in July.
Tell us about that. I love the color on that.
Yeah, it's bright orange. They did a special edition for their 30th anniversary of the Miata. I think there's like 643 in the States, and they only made 3,000 globally. So I've been looking. So it's fairly limited. I had been looking for a convertible of some sort for a long time, and I really didn't want a Mustang or something with 4 seats. I wanted 2 seats, and I was thinking about buying an old one, and then this one popped up, and I was like, might as well do it. So I put the money down and figured out the finances later, and then it showed up, and now it's mine. And it's in the garage.
That's fantastic.
Beautiful car too. That's a fantastic little car too.
Do you have anything done to it? Because I know
I did an exhaust. That's it.
You did an exhaust, right?
Yeah.
And you're a detailer, so this thing, you must have some ceramic coatings and some.
Of course. Yeah, Oliver just took some rollers the other day.
That's awesome. Where are those?
If you go back, you just scroll past them.
Oh, on your timeline?
Yeah. It's like, I don't post a lot.
Oh, yeah. Check that out.
So, yeah.
That is slick, man.
Nice.
And they changed the emblems. I forgot about that. It's not really that exciting.
Yeah, that's really, really, really cool. I know that because I drive a BRZ, and I've always been told that this is the closest thing to it, the lightweight. The
BR is very similar. Very similar. I've driven both, so
yeah, that'll be a fun autocross car. I just
haven't.
I really want to do.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do it.
Too nice, right?
Yeah, the Mini's got all the money into it, so I should just do that one. But I gotta change the motor first to rebuild it. One of the two. So
yeah.
Well, I actually have to get out of here, guys. Sarah needs the basement to work out, so I'm gonna leave you on that note. And
all right,
enjoy
the mountains.
For joining the podcast, dude. Thank
Always.
you for all your hard work moderating the group. We have 7,000 people in this group, and people are sharing stuff all the time, and we try to keep the advertisements off and the bad mouthing, and you guys do a fantastic job. So thank you very much for the hard work, man. Yeah, we'll have you on again.
Nick.
Yep. See you guys.
Bye.
Good to see you.
Nice seeing you, Randy. Bye. See you, Craig.
He fell off the rock.
That's awesome. Yeah, Nick's great. He does, him and Rami and Randy's husband Greg. They all spend their days moderating the group and making sure that it's not like STL car scene, which is, as we know, is a cesspool sometimes of people just being disrespectful and violent, and it's terrible. So, we're doing our best to get the people who don't want to be involved in that, give them another outlet to talk about cars and kind of interact with other enthusiasts without having to worry about that kind of crap, right? It's just
family friendly, positive.
Right.
Family friendly, positive, fun. We're not trying to hurt anyone. Oh, that rhymed. That's nice.
Yeah. So I don't know. This is just crappy times. I just don't know what to do. I just hope this thing passes soon. So do you, in your thoughts?
It will pass.
I know, but do you think that we're going to be able to have a car season in 2020 at all, Randy? Like, what are your predictions here? Just personal opinions.
Well, I really want it to happen. Don't get me wrong. I think there could be a short window of opportunity where we're let out to do things and then perhaps go back into lockdown. and hopefully those lockdown intervals will become shorter and shorter. And so I'm hoping that by summertime we'll be out and about, but then once flu season hits again in the fall is likely when COVID will rear its ugly head again.
Gotcha.
I think we should all be prepared for that because viruses love the cold. That's where influenza gets its name. So
yeah, so when the weather changes, it'll help kill off this virus a little bit, contain it, stop the spread, things like that. But we can all do our part, right? And just making sure that we're practicing social distancing the best we can, and washing your hands. And I've been carrying hand sanitizer around with me for years. I mean, that's just, it's nothing new for me to because I'm always shaking hands. Like I shake so many hands and I talk to so many people, and so and I don't get sick often, so I try to I've been trying to just kind of ramp that up a little bit. But if everyone does their part, it'll kind of help slow the spread, and each individual person kind of has an effect on the overall outcome of this. So we just have to stay optimistic, and I've been making some social media posts about that. Like, we just have to be optimistic about it, right? What else can we do? Nothing. There's nothing else that we can do.
Hang out with your family for a while. This is a great time for you guys to rekindle time with your children, your parents, brothers and sisters. You don't have much else you can do, so maybe bury the hatchet, but in a good way, shall we say.
And you can get on a Zoom call with your friends and talk like we are, right? And I think, it's great, isn't it? So I think it'd be really cool to continue do this podcast on Zoom. So you guys will have to let us know what you think about it. Is the quality okay? Is it bearable to listen to? And then maybe we'll get some guests on, and maybe we'll pull some random people from the group or anyone that has interesting stories and is knowledgeable about cars, and in their field, like Randy, for example. That maybe we can bring them on, and this would be a great way to connect with people. And it's actually much easier than transporting everyone to RP Exotics and putting up all the stuff. And so maybe we can pump out some more episodes, because we'd like to give everyone some sort of escape, and something to do in the quarantine, so no one feels like they have to get out. I have a friend of mine tonight who's trying to get me to go to a party. Someone's throwing a party. So yeah, obviously I'm not going to do that, but I got a lot of backlash because I decided not to go to this party. So it's just situations like that. Like, don't let your friends influence you to go and do these things just because everybody else is doing it. It doesn't mean that they're making the right decision. You have your own right to make your own decision, and screw what other people think, right? It
may be dead later.
Obviously not a good idea. And, it's people that are doing stuff like that are going to postpone the car season even further.
That's
so,
right. Well said.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just crappy. So, well, thanks for coming on, Randy. This is fun. I don't want to go too much longer because I'm so scared that this Zoom call is going to crash and we're going to lose everything. But this is so fun. And I'm glad that we have someone like you that has some expertise, on the situation that can come and kind of help educate everyone. And you also have some really cool car stories and obviously a very cool background behind you. I had to put this virtual background on to see cars. You have the coolest garage ever. So we'll have you back on when you have your wheels on. We'll have to check those out.
That's right. Thanks for having me, Ben and Craig. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you, dear. We hope you have a great night, and please stay safe.
All right. Any closing thoughts, Craig?
Wash your hands. Remember, your kids are only going to be kids for a while, so enjoy them while they're here. Try not to blow your top. Even if we don't get in a car show this year, guys, there's always next year. Stay safe. Do some more mods to your car. Make your car twice as good for next year as it would have been for this year. Besides that, we love you. Yeah, we love you guys. Take care. There's the podcast. Now the video YouTube channel to check us out on. Message us. Call a friend if you're lonely. Remember, you're not alone in this world. And if you need somebody, reach out. All right, guys, we
Nope.
love you.
Hey everybody, I'm gonna do a little bit of an outro here. Happy Easter! I completely forgot to mention that in the podcast episode. I hope everyone was able to spend some quality time with family, even if that had to be virtually. I know I spent some time with my grandparents over FaceTime and some of my aunts over Skype, so that was really great. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, please share it with a friend. We really hope you enjoyed it. If there's any topics you'd like to hear us talk about, please let us know. Please leave us a rating on iTunes too. That's very important. Another thing that I forgot to mention is that we put out a newsletter kind of updating everyone on the current status of the 2020 Cars and Coffee St. Louis season. So check your inboxes for that. That's also been shared out to all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So, I really hope you guys enjoyed the episode. This was episode 5, and stay tuned for episode 6.